Hi, I'm Dr. Tim Weir, and I gotta tell you, I love life. But when I'm not being a husband, a father, grandfather, an author, or a practicing chiropractor, I'm the host of the television show, Loving Life with Dr. Tim Weir. I love to cook. I love to travel. I like to spend time with people who do what they love and love what they do. Join me and my guests for the next 30 minutes as we help you discover how to love life. Hey, welcome to this episode of Loving Life. I'm glad you joined me. I got some great guests today. I don't know if you figured this out yet, but life can be very intimidating and it can have some rough spots. I've got 3 guests who have been through the rough spots and going to help you navigate your way through them. So you might want to grab a pen and paper because we're going to give you some great information today. Hey, you know, it all happens to us at one time, and it's going to come. You get to a point in your life where you say, oh, I wish I'd planned a little bit better. I wish I'd have done this. My guest is Brandon Lambert. He's with Canvas Back Wealth. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Wow.
Good to see you.
So here we are. Let's take somebody. I'm sure you've got a portfolio of people that you could just pull up and say, yeah, this happened here, this happened here.
Yeah.
But it's common.
Mm-hmm. Very common.
You get to the end and you say,
Ooh. It is. It's common. People get, they focus on retirement their entire life, saving, putting money away into a 401k, putting their kids through college. And next thing you know, they're empty nesters and they get to retirement and then realize that there's 30 to 40 decisions they have to make and they can't figure it all out. And there's nowhere really to turn to help them guide them through that process.
Because I think sometimes people think, well, when I get there, somebody's going to be there to help me navigate the waters.
Absolutely. I mean, you think Social Security, Medicare, 2 things that we all use, pay into our entire lives. But then they get there and there's nobody, whether it's a Social Security Administration, an advisor, a friend, there's nobody there that can really make sense of that.
Here you are sitting out there, and I'm sure you're probably thinking, what do I need to do? What do they need to do? That's the question.
Well, I can kind of walk you through quickly how I look at my clients. And the biggest thing, people think financial advisors always deal with money, 401ks, rollovers, and that's a small piece of it. But for my clients, when we look at approaching retirement and planning for it, the first thing we do is we take an inventory. You know, looking at all the resources, again, not just investments, but again, Social Security, Medicare, pension options, all the things that they have to make that lifestyle what they want it to be in retirement.
Sure.
Then we sit down and I create what I call a retirement cheat sheet, which is literally we look at their situation and say, okay, on this date you're going to file for Social Security, on this date you're going to retire, on this date your spouse is going to do it, on this date we're going to get Medicare. So we actually lay out a timeline for them.
Well, that's really cool.
And I always tell them, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I want you to be able to take this and still implement it and not skip a beat. And the goal is to really reduce the stress on that transition.
So let's make a scenario.
Sure.
58 years old. Haven't put anything away.
Okay. I've had that situation.
Are you going, or do you have an answer?
I have an answer, but what I ask the clients is for a commitment. I can get them to where they want to go, or at least further along that path, but they have to commit to being able to take action and being committed to it. But it's never too late. It's never too late. I can speak to that because of my parents and what I helped them through. I can speak to that because of clients I currently have that have said exactly that. Hey, we have 5 years left, and because of life circumstances, those curveballs, we have nothing put away, or everything we had put away is now gone. And the ones that are committed see a huge difference, and you can see it on their face. You can hear the reduction of the stress levels, the excitement that maybe things aren't quite as bleak as they think they are.
And I think that's, who knows? I mean, you've never been there before. Who really knows? Yeah. And so to have somebody that can, and I hate to use this cliche, but hold your hand all the way through that. Yeah. That's what it is.
It is. It is. It's the worst advice I've ever heard somebody getting was a lady I was talking to one time, and she was thinking about coming to work with me, and I kind of showed her what we do, and I asked her, I said, what does your current advisor do? What's their retirement plan for you? And she goes, she told me to call her if I ever needed money. And this was a woman that was 6 months away from retirement and in that panic phase and crying in my office and didn't know what to do. And her advisor told her, well, call me if you need money. And I think about if that was my mom talking to an advisor, if that was my mom, trying to seek help and I wasn't there to guide her, how would I feel if that was really how she was taken care of?
Yeah. So you can probably take some seemingly hopeless situations and help turn them around. Now, they're probably not going to end up with $4 million in the bank, but they're going to have somewhat of a change for them.
Correct. And it's the focus of our industry on assets and money, or what they call assets under management, is really one of the things we should focus on least when we're helping people retire, because there are other resources. Again, we talk about Medicare, we talk about Social Security, maybe they have pension options. Understanding how you can maximize and utilize those things to then relieve the impact on your savings or the need for additional savings. It's using the things that you've paid into your entire life that could actually reduce the burden on those other aspects of your financial situation.
Why not use it?
Yep.
You've paid into it.
Yep.
Okay. Listen, if you got some questions, I want you to he's giving you the opportunity to get up with him. Let him help you through some of this stuff. There's no need you inventing the wheel, reinventing the wheel, coming up with new ideas. Hey, it's all probably already done.
Yep.
You just need to plug your numbers in, plug your name in, and get to work on it. It'll take probably a lot of stress off your life. You'll be able to sleep a little bit better every night. Brandon, thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
You're awesome, man.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate what you do. All right, my friends, don't change the channel because we got more coming up. Go to our website, check out some more stuff. All right, here's his website. Check it out. What? Does your spouse say that a lot? Now, if you were to talk to my wife, she would say, that's you. I'm with Dr. Sherry Mello today with Raleigh Hearing and Tinnitus Center. Dr. Mello, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
This thing is getting epidemic, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And part of that, do you think, is because of we're just getting an older generation? People are just getting older.
Yeah, this is the largest baby boomer generation that we've seen living. So the baby boomers came of age for hearing loss in January of 2016. So we're seeing a huge population of people with hearing difficulties.
So somebody's watching this right now and saying, that's really me. What do I do about it? Do I have to go to my doctor? What do I do?
Right. So hearing loss is a medical condition, and so we would like you to go to your primary or an ENT or come see us. We're direct access to consumers. We accept insurances, so you don't have to pay a copay. You can just call our office and we can just get you screened. We do a full diagnostic evaluation, and it should be done by or at 50 years old. Just like it's common knowledge that we get a colonoscopy at 50, you should get your hearing tested. And you can't be afraid that if we find something, we can't treat it, or we can only treat it with an expensive device. That should not be your concern at that point. You should just come in and just
find out if there's a problem, first of all.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So let's say I come in and you say, it's not selective hearing, we've got some hearing loss. And help me out here just a little bit.
Right.
We hear through waves
Correct.
of energy. So some of those cells in the ear we lose those cells?
Okay, so great question. So there's 3 types of hearing loss. One is conductive, one is sensorineural, and one is mixed. So we find out what type of hearing loss do you have. It's not just one kind. So if we find out, first we do an otoscopic check. We have to see if there's wax in your ear blocking.
Exactly.
It could be as simple as that.
So you get to the base, there's a hearing loss. What do we do about it?
All right, so if it's conductive, that means that there's something blocking the sound from getting to the hearing nerve. So we send on for a medical referral.
Okay.
You'll have to go to an ENT to figure out what's causing this conductive component. So we think wax, we know, we wouldn't even do the hearing test, but then there's a blockage behind the eardrum, fluid in the ear infection, something like that causing not to hear. You got off an airplane and you have some pressure left, so we have to relieve that pressure.
Right.
That's medically done. If it's not, it's sensory neural, meaning nerve damage or nerve loss, then we go ahead and we talk about treatment options. And those are being usually hearing aids or hearing devices that will help with the hearing. No, they're very small now, extremely
Really?
small, invisible. There's one that is completely invisible. It goes all the way down near the eardrum.
Oh, just wait, I got to put my
just can't
glasses on
see
to
it.
see this.
Yeah, so you really can't see it. This is a model in the ear. So it goes way down, so it's not visible
How do you
to
get that
anybody.
out?
So here's a little removal handle right
Look
there.
at that.
And it comes out. So for those folks who are in the business world or they just don't want anybody to know
Sure.
that they have a hearing loss, this is a type of hearing device that we accomplish. The other one, though,
And it works really good.
and it works really good.
Oh, wow.
It's because they're digital products now.
Yeah.
If you think about your grandma or older relative that had a
She
hearing
had that
aid,
big horn that you put in her ear.
or a wire coming up
Yeah.
and it was a body aid,
Yeah.
or they did have over-the-ear hearing aids, but
Exactly.
it fed back. They were constantly up there,
Yeah.
constantly adjusting
What's
it.
this?
Okay, so what we do is once we find you have a hearing loss and it can't be treated medically, we talk about communication difficulties. Where are you having communication difficulties? Is it just on the phone? Well, then we'll recommend a free caption call. It's free if you have a hearing loss. It's funded by the FCC on your little taxes there on the field.
Really?
That's how it's funded. And so it reads out what the person is saying on the other end. If they leave a message, it'll read out the message. So when doctors call or your prescriptions, information, all of that
Pretty important.
is pretty important. And with accents and low talkers. So this is great. So if you have a hearing loss, we sign you up for this. Or we have amplified phones if you don't want captioned phones.
So it's not grandma's old hearing loss anymore.
No.
There's some digital help.
Digital help and different solutions. If
Yeah.
you're not ready for a hearing aid, of course, we'll talk about communication strategies. You go to a restaurant, you don't sit in the middle of the restaurant or by the kitchen. You sit in a booth somewhere quiet. So we talk about that. So we're not right there to sell you something. We're there to help your needs. If you are ready for hearing aids, then we talk about that. Communication lifestyles. You have to figure out what type of hearing aid you need. It's not just a consumer electronics device. It's not. It's
It's a medical thing.
a medical problem. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That's awesome. Listen, if you're watching, you're thinking, man, that's me. Call this number right now. Get in with Dr. Mello and let her figure it out. That's her job. It's not your job to figure it out. It's her job. Let her do it. And you'll be amazed, I think. I think I'm going to make an appointment. Don't change the channel. We got more coming up right now.
Dr. Tim Weir wants people like you to enjoy life to the fullest, and he has written several books. These down-to-earth, easy-to-read resources will help you love life. For example, You're Not Crazy, An Overcomer's Guide to Fibromyalgia. This book has helped hundreds of people. Or How to Reboot Your Brain When Drugs and Therapy Have Not Worked. This amazing book will help you or a loved one retrain the brain. Wake Up and Dream is a wake-up call so you don't sleep through life. Go to www.drtimweir.com and order your copy today.
This next subject is something that we all have to deal with sooner or later in life. And it's called death and how to deal with it, really. I'm with Judith Sands. She has written a book called Home Hospice Navigation. I love that.
Thank you.
How did this all come about?
came about because I navigated not only my mother-in-law's journey, but my mother's home hospice journey. And there were many trials and tribulations along the way. Mom often said, well, why are you fighting? And I said, I'm your advocate. There are things you're entitled to. You have a care plan. There may be a better way of alleviating discomfort or keeping you independent a little bit longer. And she said, well, what do other families do who don't have someone with your knowledge and background? And she was very involved in the beginnings of the book.
Wow. And that was going to be my question. I mean, you have degrees. How about the person who doesn't?
Those folks that don't have a background or experience really need to have an advocate, someone that can help them through the journey. And most often it's a journey you might take once or twice in your life.
Right.
But still, there are so many surprises, and each individual's journey is so different. There are common themes, which obviously the book addresses, but caregivers don't know what they don't know. And I view the book as kind of a just-in-time piece of education and support. It's written in short chapters to say, okay, this is my issue, open it up, here's the support information.
Well, and it's really true. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time learning this stuff. So it's nice to have something that's kind of succinct and to the point, and here's the answer.
It is, and some of the issues you face today may not be the issues you face tomorrow.
Yeah.
And what worked today isn't going to work tomorrow. So you need to have a resource that you can go back to. It supplements what the various hospices or home health agencies provide. But this is written from the caregiver's perspective, supporting caregivers.
How did this affect your relationship with your mom? Did it deepen it? Did you?
My mother and I always had a wonderful relationship. We were really on the same wavelengths. We could begin a conversation or begin a sentence, and the other one knew what the end of that conversation would be. As this came about and issues in care surfaced or challenges, I would take notes and would say, well, what do you think how would other families or other individuals handle that? And we had a dialogue, and there were some situations, one that I allude to in the book, that brought about a little bit of humor. A friend called up, frantic, and I was with my mother at the time, who said, they want to put my loved one in hostage care. You know, hostage care. And my mother and I truly were rolling, laughing. But it's the little bit of lightening of the situation. No one is ever a hostage in hospice.
Yeah.
And there's options. But this person was so anxious and so unsure of what next steps to take that she viewed it as a hostage situation. And that was one of the things for a long time we chuckled about. And every family or every caregiver will find those few minutes of gallows humor, dark humor, to kind of get them through. And that helped us on the journey.
I love this book because it just lets people get an idea of where to go. You might be in that situation now. You might be asking questions. So they can get the book, read through it, and you also do some public speaking about this.
I do, and I've got a couple of classes coming up that I will be teaching. I have spoken at senior community centers. So my goal is to reach not only the seniors, but really it's the baby boomers who are that sandwiched group who are making decisions about, most often, parents, but that's really not the only demographic. Unfortunately, there are many tragic situations that puts young people in a situation where they are going to be caring for someone else.
Yeah. And it's nice to know what to do. Listen, go to our website, check it out. Home Hospice Navigation, the Caregiver's Guide. What an incredible story. This is Mom.
That's Mom.
And you can get a picture of Mom. Go to our website right now, check it out. And don't change the channel. I see you trying to get your hands off the button. We got more coming up. Hey, hope you enjoyed this episode of Loving Life. You know, those are things we don't necessarily all want to look at. It's one of those things you have to confront. And my guests today, all three of them, have got some valuable, great answers for you. So make sure that you check out their resources. Go to www.drtimweir.com, give you some more information about the show. Please like us on Facebook at Loving Life with Dr. Weir. I want to hear from you. Send me an email. Jot me a little note that says I'm watching, and I appreciate you doing that. I'm telling you, I love people who are watching all time. I'm in different stores, and I have people come up to me. We'll travel different places, and they say, I watch you on television. I just love that. I love meeting people who love life all over this great country. So until next week, keep loving life. How easy was it to do this show?
Simple.
Yeah. Were you nervous at all about doing it? You did, yeah, because you did a really good job. But I mean, it's just easy for guests to do this.
Yeah. So I can get the bill over there. He said, no, just come over. And I said, okay. So, didn't get in the studio, didn't know what to expect. But it was simple. Simple and easy.
You can do it too, okay? Write me a note.
At GOBO, we have tons of content for you, just like this. Check out this new series on GOBO. Great content all the time at GOBO. GOBO, it's a channel made just for you. Just GOBO.